Hey everybody, you guys all good? So this is another interview I did with Jakey Lee back on December 17th, 2013, when he was working with his Red Dragon Cartel band. Jake's always a very fun guy to speak to, and I think you guys will dig this one. Talk to you soon.
Steve Rosen.
Mr. Lee, how are you?
I'm okay. Can I ask you a favor?
Sure, buddy.
Okay.
You okay, buddy?
Yep.
Everything cool?
Yeah.
Good, man. We actually spoke a long time ago, Jake. I interviewed you for Guitar World right around the Ultimate Sin record. That must be like 1986. Many years.
That's a long time ago.
Really was. So, Jake, the new record, man, I just saw was really beautiful. It was just a remarkable record. I would like to know is kind of, you've been a little bit off the radar for the last few years.
A little bit.
Yeah, man. What were the reasons for that? I know that the kind of business, maybe. Why have we not heard more from you?
Well, because in the, I'd say, starting in the early 90s, I outlived my shelf life.
What does that mean?
As far as being cool. Grunge came in, and lead guitar player types, guitar hero types, became uncool, and I just started getting slapped into the whole hair metal category. Even though Badlands wasn't a hair metal band,
right?
I wasn't cool as far as what opportunities I was allowed.
I understand.
Because the only calls I got were from bands that loved Ozzy and they were metal and they wanted Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player in it, or new bands that were like blues rock bands and they wanted to go after the Badlands thing. And for me, I did Ozzy. I did Badlands. Give me something new. I don't. It's not like I don't like that music, but since I just did that for 4 years, give me a new opportunity as a musician, something to explore other avenues, and because I figured I'm good enough, throw me something and watch what I can do. But because I got lumped into the whole hair metal thing, whenever I did try to reach out to certain different types of music, the response was always, "Oh, yeah, you're a hair metal guy. No thanks."
Wow.
So that was discouraging. The fact that Badlands broke up, because I loved Badlands, I put my heart and soul into it, and when it broke up, it broke my heart. So that, along with not getting any offers to do anything that I thought was musically exciting, and the whole business side of it, which I always hated. Any intelligent person would. I just thought, okay, I'll bow out as gracefully as I can, and for all those years, I was happy with that. I had a good 8-year run, and I made music that I was proud of, and some of it still gets played on the radio. That's my legacy. I'm fine with that. I can go to my deathbed and say, yeah, I did something. I made a mark, and I made a mark, and I didn't keep trying to fucking get back to it.
Yeah.
Because that's a little sad to me. I didn't want to be one of those guys that says, yeah, remember me? And then make another record reflecting what I used to do.
I understand.
Over and over again. To me, music it's my passion. It's my goddess. I don't want to fuck it up.
I understand. So in some respects, Jake, kind of playing with Ozzy was maybe kind of the best thing, and maybe a thing you had to kind of outrun as well.
Yeah.
Kind of a curse and a blessing, as it were.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that that I had to be. Well, it was obviously the blessing part's obvious.
Definitely.
The curse would have been that's when all that hairspray and glittery stage costume shit happened, which I didn't like. At heart, I was always kind of more of a punk guy.
Huh.
When I joined Ozzy, as soon as I got in the band, I told Sharon, look, here's something I always wanted to do, but never did. I want a blue mohawk. I said, think about it. It's Ozzy Osbourne, for fuck's sake. You know, it's a madman of rock and roll. His new guitar player, blue mohawk. I said, that would be awesome. And she said, Jake, if you do that, we're firing you. So
funny, man.
So that's where I would have gone back then, and instead, you know, we were sort of dictated what kind of clothes you can wear, and they had makeup and hair people that would do shit to your hair.
Yeah.
That wasn't me, but of course, if I'm going to be an Aussie, I had to go along with it. And God, now it sounds like I'm making excuses, but it's God's honest truth. I just wanted I wanted jeans. I was not allowed to wear jeans on stage.
Wow.
That was a rule. No jeans, no T-shirts. So they would have these clothes made, and I would do my best at that time. If you look back at those old pictures, I would do my best to downsize it.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say, you know, Phil Suzanne or somebody would have a purple sequined negligee, basically, and then the clothing guy said, "What do you want?" I said, "No colors, black and white. That's your options, either black or white or a combo. No glitter, no sequins." I said, "I don't want to look like that," and I point to Phil. You know. So if you look at the old pictures, I really am, compared to everybody else, you can tell that I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not like I'm trying to make excuses 30 years later. I never liked it. But it's fucking true.
Yeah, no, man, I get it. So, Jake, so you're away all these years, and you know, you come back with this new band, this new record. I mean, you know, what were you trying to say with the new record? What did you kind of, you know, want to kind of, you know, bring to new fans, old fans? I mean, what was it? You know, what was sort of the main goal, the vision for this record?
To make me excited. It goes back to the music is my goddess. It's the only reason I do it is because it's a part of me. It's in my soul. I love music. I love creating music. I love playing music. And it was never about being in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't particularly like the spotlight.
No, I know you don't.
And playing in front of people is that I don't miss that either. It's not. I don't need to be the center of attention. I don't need to play in front of people who, yay, Jake. I don't need that. I'm not saying I don't like it, you know, but I'm just saying I don't need it. So when we did this record, and I went into it very cautiously, the whole idea of it, because I told Ron and Kevin Churko, who approached me, I told them, look, I don't need to make a comeback. I'm happy with what I did. If I'm going to do a record, it's going to be music that I feel excited about playing, and it's not going to be because this is expected or this will make the most money. So going into this, as long as you guys know, it's going to be music that makes me excited, because that's the only reason I ever started doing it. And you can't please everybody. You try to make a record to please other people, you're going to disappoint a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so fuck that. So going into this record, that was my only thing.
Gotcha, man. So these years have gone by. Certainly, you're still playing at home, or you know, recording bits and pieces. You have ideas and stuff. So you kind of have all these riffs and ideas, and kind of Ronnie was kind of the one who kind of first approached you, and then Kevin got involved. I mean, can you tell me about that process, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that I didn't want anything to do with the business didn't mean that I still didn't want to create music. So, especially with right about that time, with the advent of computers and then computer music software programs, it gave me a whole new chords, put it in something like Fruity Loops, which is a sampling program.
Yeah.
I could write my own drum parts. I could play the bass. I could get a software synthesizer or keyboards or whatever. You could do it all by yourself. And that was a lot of fun for me. And so I was happy, just being at home, writing music, coming up with ideas, which I did for the whole time I was gone. I still wrote music.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I didn't feel the need to foist it upon the world or anything. I was happy doing that because, as I had stated earlier, it was for me. It's for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm writing music, and then my friends would come over and I'd play it, and they're, oh, that's awesome. And they're like, cool. All right, fine. I was good with that. What I did start to kind of miss was interaction with other musicians. I mean, at first, especially because it was all me, and I don't have to argue with anybody. No, play this part.
Yeah.
Everything was great, but after a while, I kind of missed the old bouncing ideas off of other musicians, and other musicians say, hey, I got a part that fit in there perfect. That whole thing I did kind of start to miss. So I was a little bit open towards working with other people after a while. And Barney had tracked me down like a bounty hunter or something. He ended up knocking on my front door. I opened it up, and I hadn't seen him in 20 years or so. I'm like, the fuck are you doing here? and he said, hey, I just want to see what the hell you're doing. I'm like, oh, come in. And he said, are you interested in making a record? I said, not really. And he said, well, it can be anything. I said, like what? He said, why don't you do cover songs? I'm like, yeah, that sounds exciting. And he said, well, you could do cover songs of the songs you played as a teenager in your first bands. How about that? I was like, huh, wow. Well, maybe. I said, I don't know, let me think about it. It's like, okay, cool. He came back the next day and said, I've got Tim Bogert and Ainsley Dunbar lined up to do this if you want to do it. And those two names, they impressed me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I hadn't played with anybody else for a long time. That was intriguing. That's what got me into it.
I'm sorry, Jake. So the Retraced record in 2005 is sort of your first step outside the door.
Yeah, and it was to be able to play with other musicians, especially of that caliber, musicians I grew up like admiring. That's what got me to do it. And to be honest, my guitar chops were probably, they weren't at their peak. Because I didn't pick up a guitar that often while I was making music on the computer. I pick it up occasionally, but most of it was concentrated on writing music using software. So, that's what actually started getting me back into playing guitar more than anything, was that record. It was like a kick in the ass, like, you have to play guitar. So I played it, and I started liking playing guitar again. And a couple of years after that, when I was approached for the other thing, it all just kind of started snowballing into eventually something happening.
I see. So how'd you get hooked up with Kevin and Kane?
Through Ron Mancuso. I knew Ron back in L.A. in the 80s. I knew Ron. In fact, he helped me write Rock and Roll Rebel for Bark at the Moon. But I'd lost touch with him. And when I moved to Vegas, I really didn't know that many people. And some of the Pete Ravine was one. He used to be in, the hell was the name of that band? Who knows? Anyway,
I'll look it up.
He was one of, I almost had the name of the band. Quit thinking. Okay, anyway, he's a guitar player.
Yeah.
I knew him. And then he knew Ron, and he said, hey, Ron would like to say hi. I said, wow, I haven't seen him in 20 years. So I went down. He has a restaurant and a studio in Vegas, and I went down, and we reconnected. And he said, by the way, I'm Beggars and Thieves doing a video in a couple of days, and we're having people do cameos. Would you like to do one? It's like, oh shit, yeah, why not? I mean, I'm not doing anything. I'm I don't think there's any important TV shows I need to watch that night. I said, sure, fuck, why not? It seemed like it'd be fun. So I did the cameo in that video, and then after it came out, Ron said, have you seen the response? I'm like, no. Have you seen the video? No. I said, okay, here's the YouTube address. Go check the video out, read some of the comments. I was like, all right, whatever. So I put it on, and then I start reading the comments, and then time after time after time, it was like, oh my God, Jake.
Wow.
Oh my God, Jake, he's got all his limbs still. Oh my God, Jake, he can stand and hold a guitar still. Oh my God, is he gonna do something? And there was so much of that. It was it was weird.
But it must have felt good. Must have felt good though, right?
Yeah, I felt kind of loved.
Yeah.
And I just really didn't think anybody gave a shit anymore. I mean, it'd been so long. I thought I was just written off. He's dead somewhere, whatever. And it was overwhelming. All those comments, and so Ron called me and said, "Did you read them?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Come in, let's talk about it." So I went down there, and in the meantime, he and Kevin, who has a studio right next to Ron's, had gotten together and talked about it, about the responses in there and how it looks like people would be interested in if I had anything else to do. And so they both talked to me and said, "Look, a lot of people are interested. Are you?" And at that point, I still, I had a good run. I'm not complaining. I'm fine. They said, "Yeah, but you want to give it a shot?" And I said, And he said, "Look, just come in, bring your ideas. You and Ron, you wrote Rock and Roll Rebel together. See if you still have any chemistry. See if the songwriting process is good. If the songwriting process is good, let's record some of it and see what happens. Just dip your toe into the pool, see what it's like. And you have the option of out anytime you want. So, how easy can you make it for me?"
Yeah.
So I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll give that a shot." And so we started writing. Chemistry was good. First song we wrote was Beater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we're listening back to it. We had a vocal melody. It was all written out. But it was Ron singing, and he's a horrible singer. But, so he's singing on it, and the track sounding good, and I'm like, shit. And I said, you know what? Robin Zander would kick ass on this song. And then Ron said, well, I know Tom Peterson. Let me call him up, see if Robin would do it. I'm like, really? Okay. and he called Tom, and we sent the song to Robin, and he said, yeah, I'd love to sing on it. I'm still like, really?
Wow.
Bitchin'. So he did the recording in Florida, so I wasn't there for it.
I see.
And we got the tracks back in Vegas. Ron mixed the vocals into the tracks we already had. He said, hey, come on down and listen to this. So I went down there, and I'm listening to it, and it's fucking Robin Zander singing on a song I just wrote.
Yeah.
Tom Peterson playing bass on it. And Jeremy, I gotta throw him in there or I'll feel left out. Jeremy from Five Finger playing drums, and I'm listening to it, and I have to say, I got so excited.
Wow.
And I felt the most alive I had since Badlands.
That is cool. That is cool, man.
I felt alive, and I didn't think I would be like that.
Huh.
Like I said, I was happy.
Yeah.
Watching TV on the couch. It was kind of a nothing life, I suppose. But I didn't feel the need to have to do anything else. But then when I heard that track with Xander and everybody, yeah, it felt so good. It felt so right. I felt so alive, and that's when I said, fuck it, I'm pulling my toe out of the pool and I'm diving in. Yes, let's do this. That's what made the rest of the record was that one song.
That's so cool. So Jake, then the idea that you bring in Robin and ultimately you bring in these various different players. You didn't think about that. Oh, this has to be a band record with a singer that I'm working with. I can bring in kind of these my heroes, as it were, and kind of
That's what I was thinking. And we used like Santana and Slash as a blueprint on how to do it.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, after a while, well, because on that first swing, we got Xander. I started thinking, well, fuck it, let's get David Bowie to sing on our song. But then we, I doubt if Bowie even knows who I am. We weren't even able to get a hold of him.
Yeah.
We weren't sure how to approach him. We tried a couple things, and it was like he's just unavailable, and that happened a couple of more times. Where well, we're not going to get the perfect singer to sing on this song. Maybe it's time to start looking for a singer.
Right.
Plus when the record comes out, what are we going to get? Xander to come out with us, Sass to come out with us, tell Maria she can't do any In This Moment gigs because we want her to come out and sing the one song with us. I mean, it's just not feasible. And that's, I'd say, is halfway through the record we realized, let's just get a band going here, and that's when we put the word out to look for a singer and a drummer.
So, I mean, did you know what kind of a singer you wanted, Jake? I mean, did you have...
No, there was no... It was more of a... And Ron had to go through all of them, because there was a bunch of them, right? People sending in songs and videos.
Sure.
And he went through most of them and just saved like the best ones with ones he thought I'd be interested in. But I didn't know. I just said, I'll know it when I see it. It's like, okay, well, does he have to sing high? Do you want him to look a certain way? I was just, no. I'll know it when I see it. And when I saw Darren's, I said, him. And he was one of the first ones that he played for me.
Wow.
Darren's. And I said, him. I think he's the guy. And then Ron said, well, no. I got about 20 more guys here. I said, okay, I'll listen to them. Maybe there's somebody. But we kept going back to comparing them to Darren. Like this guy, oh, no, this guy's pretty good. Let's compare him to Darren. And Darren would win out every time. And so after about 25, we decided, no, yeah, it's Darren. And I knew it from the first time I saw it. But we did give everybody else a chance.
Yeah, gotcha. I mean, Jake, it's kind of your first record in kind of, since kind of 2005, really. Guitar playing has certainly changed a lot since kind of, back in the day. I mean, the Ozzy days, guitar players have changed. Styles have changed. It's the metal thing and the tuned down thing and the 7-string. And, did you think about any of that at all going in? I think you're playing on the record, man. It was just beautiful. I think your solos were amazing. But it just blew me away. And plus, I think you're playing on the covers record, man. Those are some of my favorite songs in the world. And I thought, he better not butcher Whiskey Train. But I'm jumping subject here. But did you think, Jake, at all about any of those kinds of players that were out, or the kinds of sounds guitar players were getting? Did you consider any of that when you were in there kind of putting your solos down and putting down your parts? Did you?
No. No, I can say absolutely no. Because I don't really keep up with that anyway.
I see.
I knew there were 7-string guitars because I saw one once. And then I picked it up and tried to play it. I was like, no, it's hard enough with 6. So, no, that was out of the question. I wasn't going to even attempt to fucking learn how to play a 7-string. And, no, no, I never thought about that. And I didn't want to. One of the things was because I hadn't kept up with it, and I wasn't that aware of how guitar playing was. I wanted to kind of keep it that way.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because then I go into it blind, and whatever comes out is not going to be tainted by like me wanting to sound more like this guy or that guy or any of that. Even sound-wise, I just figure I'll go in there, and most of the solos were I'd say all the solos were, we do 6 takes. That was
6 takes.
That was how we did it. We said, okay, and with no preconceived notions on what I was going to do in the solo, which is actually a lot different than I've done it before.
Is it?
Although there's been times, I mean, in Ozzy and in Badlands, where I do solos off the cuff, but it wasn't the majority. And on this record, it was all of them. It was all of them. Okay, here's the song, and then Ron would give me a glass of Jameson's, and say, okay, let's do 6 takes. And on all of them, it was usually the second or third take.
Wow.
Was the one. And that's how we approach it. Just like, what the fuck? Here's me playing with no preconceived notion, no preconceived ideas on what I was going to do. Just let's see what happens when I just fly on it and see what happens. And I was happy with it.
Oh man, your soloing was great. I mean, Fall from the Sky, which is just one of my favorite songs on the record. I mean, I know it's kind of the ballad, man, but it kind of has this psychedelic Beatles thing to it or something. I don't know. I just really dug that, man. And your solo on that was just so, man, it was just so perfect because it kind of, you know, it builds on itself, you know, like a snake eating its own tail, you know, or it's like devouring itself and it's getting bigger. I don't know what it was. It was just this great thing you did, man.
I appreciate that, and that was a special moment. I think that was like the second take, and we didn't do the other 4.
Oh, wow.
Because, yeah, like I said, I didn't have any ideas going into it, and then I'm pretty sure that was the second take, and I played it, and I'm not trying to sound conceited, but
no.
I played it, and I went, fuck!
Yeah, man.
That was it. And Ron said, well, you got 4 more, and I said, no, that fucking take was it. I don't think I'm going to do anything better than that, and I'm surprised I came up with that. You know?
It was amazing. War Machine had a bit of a kind of a Black Sabbath.
Had more than a bit.
Yeah. So that was a conscious thing, right?
Yeah. That was we were recording and we just heard that Black Sabbath was going to do a record with Ozzy. And I huge Black Sabbath fan. I love Black Sabbath. And so we're all sitting around going, oh man, what's it going to sound like? What's it going to sound like? And then I said, fuck it. Let's write a song and see what we think maybe it could sound like.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so, yeah, that was more Black Dragon Cartel than Red Dragon Cartel.
Gotcha, man. And your solo on that one, man, it's just kind of this crazy, chaotic thing, you know. I mean, you really get a sense of kind of, you know, chaos and war and all this frenetic stuff going on. I mean, it was a really kind of an angry, you know, like a weapon. The solo was. It was just so perfect, you know. I mean, in some respects, Jake, I mean, you're certainly, you know, trying to paint a picture with the solo. I mean, to kind of complement the song and lyrics, and you know, I mean, that's kind of been a thing you've done all along. I mean, I think great guitar players do that, right? I mean, they understand the music and the lyric and you know what the solo needs to do. I mean, somewhere in the back of your head, I mean, there's that little idea. Well, this is a song, kind of a crazy song, and then I need to get a little bit crazy, a little bit frantic here. I mean, those thoughts kind of go through your head? I know I'm babbling here, man. I'm sorry. And in fact, with War Machine, I had a different solo there earlier, and Ron really wanted to keep it. Actually, Kevin too, because when we first did it, I did a real early solo over it, and for some reason I was in Clapton mode, Cream era, and I said, and since we were doing a song where, wow, maybe Black Sabbath will sound like this, I said, well, let's see what Black Sabbath would sound like with Eric Clapton from Cream. That is so cool, man.
And so I did a solo, and with all my fucking Clapton licks that I knew, and with as much of an old Cream sound as I could get, but I did it kind of as a joke. You know, Eric Clapton and Black Sabbath. And so we did that really early, and it was the solo for a long time. And then at one point I looked at Ron and Kevin and I said, you know that was a joke, right? And they said, oh, it sounds really good. I said, but if I listen to that every time I listen to it, I'm going to know that I was just joking about Clapton being in Sabbath.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's not a real solo. I mean, it's kind of clever, but it's just too much of a juxtaposition for me. I said, well, if you want to try something else, and I said, yeah, give me another shot at it. And that's the solo that ended up on the record.
Oh, really?
Was a totally non-Clapton. I just and it was a really early take too because everybody and Kevin and Ron kind of fought me on that. They wanted the Clapton solo, and maybe, well, especially these days, how you get solo tracks and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, right.
Maybe someday that'll show up where it's the Clapton style solo.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Big Mouth Jake, with Maria, who sings that just amazingly. Another amazing solo. I mean, there's a cool effect on that solo. In fact, there's a lot of really cool guitar sounds here. Was it a thing, Jake? I know you're still, playing that Charvel, but was it a thing of let's pull out some different boxes and effects and see what we can get? Let's, try some different amps.
Yeah.
What was that process like?
I forgot about that. It's cool that you mentioned that. Because I have a bunch of old effects, and so I'd always just pull one out and throw it on the track just for the fuck of it. On that one, I had this old pedal called a Gretsch Expandafuzz.
Wow.
And it's basically, on one side it's an EQ where you can boost mid, low, and high, and on the other side just fuzz, and you can adjust the drive and the volume, and there's a switch for each one, so you can put them in and out. Anyway, so I just got a nice sound coming out of it, and I played one solo for it, and it was regular sounding. And then it takes two batteries, right? One for the EQ side, one for the fuzz side. Then by the second take, and I hadn't changed the batteries, who knows how long. By the second take, it started doing really weird shit.
Wow.
And I was like, what the fuck's wrong with this? And I checked the batteries, and one of them was almost dead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember which side of the pedal it was, but one was almost dead. And I was like, wow, I need to change batteries, and we couldn't find one. So I just put it back in. I said, well, maybe it kind of recharged itself. And I put it back in, tried another solo, and it just started freaking out again. And that's when we got the brainstorm of Happy Mistake.
Yeah.
And we decided to incorporate it into it. So I'd play the solo, and then I'd reach over the pedal, put it up like at arm's length, reach over the pedal and just tweak one of the knobs, and it would oscillate and go, it would do these weird things because the battery was dying. And that's how we did that solo. In fact, thank God we're not touring with Maria. And it'd be weird to hear Darren sing that song because I have no idea how I would replicate that on stage.
Yeah.
How to get just the right amount of dying battery in there and shit.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it was just one of those really mistakes that ended up being a glorious one.
Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, Jake, were there sort of any challenging moments in the studio for you? Certainly you can kind of, play pretty much anything you hear, but I mean, was there moments when you thought, oh, it's not working, or that the rhythm track's not locked, or, some B section isn't working? I mean, any kind of moments that particularly challenged you as a musician then?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say no, not really, but now I remember. Deceived was the last song we'd written, and that was because I was going to the studio and I heard Bark at the Moon on the radio. I said, that's a very distinct pattern, chord playing pattern. I said, I never really did that again with Ozzy, and in fact, I don't know anybody else that's taken that particular pattern and written anything else. I said, maybe I should give that a shot. So came up with different chords, but using the same, bam, 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 that kind of pattern.
Exactly.
And it'd been a long time since I played 16th notes that fast drew out a song.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where we could only do a couple takes, and then my forearm would kind of give out, and I'd have to take
That's
a break.
interesting. Yeah, I know that rhythm. I know how difficult that is to play if you're kind of not, in shape for it. Well, in some subliminal way, did you ever sort of, think back when you were doing a track or just generally recording about, well, how would I have done this with Ozzy, or, how would the process get done? Nothing specifically, but more just sort of an attitude or anything you might have learned from working with Ozzy, kind of maybe that got applied to this record. Certainly Kevin being there must have, connected the dots a little bit, but, or was it just an entirely new experience for you? Kind of, your record and...
Yeah, I didn't, other than I insisted on recording the guitars old school. I guess it's old school, I don't know. But I wanted a cabinet, I wanted a head, mic the cabinet, because it's easy to go into a simulator, an amp simulator, especially with some of the ones they have out there now.
Yeah.
In fact, I did that with on the In This Moment record. I did a solo on one of the songs. I don't even know what it's called. I did one of them. I did a solo on there, and I went to Kevin's studio, and I did just plug into his amp simulator.
Oh, really?
It was a brand new one. He said, "Oh, it's great sounds. Come on, we'll make it easier." So I did do that way, and I can see how that's easier. But I'm just too old. I like it. I like going into an amp. I like feeling it. In fact, I like being in the same room with the amp and cab. I don't like being in a separate.
Is that right? You're out in the room with the cabinet, kind of in front of you.
Yeah. I like feeling it, and I also like how when you do it in the room, you can get feedback in a certain way.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in the studio just through the monitors. It kind of, but not the same live, organic way of doing it when you're standing next to the amp. You turn, you hold a note, and a certain harmonic pops out and starts feeding back. So I did it that way, and there was problems with that, doing it that way. Sometimes I had to have Tyler Esposito, who's Anthony Esposito from Lynch Mob's son. He's one of my buds, and he'd be in the studio, and he helped with the recording, the engineering stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He would have to start the track over where the monitors were, and I'd be over by my cabinet because I play loud. There were certain times where he'd have to stand there and conduct me and show me where the beat was because I couldn't hear because you couldn't get the monitors loud enough to where I'd hear it.
I see.
Kind of hear it, and so I'd sort of know where I was in the song. I would know as far as, this is the verse. I know where all the sections were. I knew that, but sometimes I couldn't clearly hear where the beat was. So, yeah, he would stand over by the monitors and look at me and do a conductor's thing.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I knew exactly where 1 and 4 and 3 and 2 were and play the part that way because that's just the way I like to record.
Interesting. So Jake, it was the Charvel and the Marshalls?
It was a bunch of stuff. Yeah, the Charvel was is in some of it, but I'd say the bulk of it was rhythm playing. It was my 68 SG Standard because it just has a really good rhythm sound.
Of course.
And I like humbuckers for rhythm tracks because they're very mid-range. They're more mid-rangey, say, and it seems to sit in the track better. But for the leads, I really loved my 63 SG Junior and the P90. P90s just really, especially for solo sections, just really pop out. They got a little more bottom, they got a lot more top, and they're just more vicious sounding for a lead than a humbucker. A humbucker always sounds a little polite to me.
I understand.
And that's good for rhythm tracks because, you got stupid singer over it. But when it came to the leads, I did almost all of those on my 63 SG Junior.
Oh, that's so cool, man. I love it.
Or my 58 Les Paul TV Special.
Wow.
I needed that neck pickup.
Cool. Yeah, I love Junior's. Such cool guitars. Just a few more questions here, Jake. I'll let you go, okay?
All right.
Thanks, man. Exquisite Tenderness. I'm guessing that's Jakey Lee playing piano?
Yep, that's me.
Can a guitar wizard play piano ballads and still be taken seriously? I'm kidding, man. I thought it was so cool. I mean, where did that idea come from?
Well, I started on piano.
Right. No,
I started
exactly
piano
right.
when I was 6, and until I was about 16, when my parents finally relented and said, "Yeah, whatever, guitar, sure, make a living doing that."
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
But so I played piano, and I wrote that when I was about 15, I think, something like that. Because up to that point, I always played classical, because classical piano. And then by the time I was 15, I don't know, I just decided I was going to write something. Let me see what I can write. And that's the song I wrote. And I've never known what to do with it. I mean, it's a piano song. It's not that long. It doesn't sound like something you can put a vocal on. It was always, and it being the first song I ever wrote, I always wanted to try to do something with it, but I didn't know what to do with it. And so it's been sitting around all those years. And when I was at the studio one night, actually when I was in the Bootlegger, the restaurant that's attached to the whole studio complex, I was in the Bootlegger, and it has a jazz lounge, and I saw this big piano, and I said, "Oh shit, I haven't sat down on one of these for a while." And I started playing, and I played that, and Ron heard it and said, "What the fuck was that?" "Well, that's the first song I ever wrote. I never knew what to do with it though." And then that's when Ron said, "I know." Said, "Let's record it and put it on the fucking record."
Wow.
And I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I think it'd be really cool." And I said, "You know what? Let's go ahead and do it. Fuck it. You know, that way I never have to wonder what to do with the first song I ever wrote. It's on here, and it's gone." And, yeah, I had to get my I had to get my guitar chops up. Can you imagine the piano? I haven't played piano in so long. And I will say that I played it a lot better when I was 15. It was pretty hard for me to do it now. And hopefully I'll never be at some kind of a party where there's a piano and somebody wants me to play that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can tell them just to put on my record if you want to hear it.
Yeah. Unless it's, Scarlett Johansson's birthday party. And
there you go.
She specifically wants it, then okay.
Yeah, then yeah.
I'll give it a shot, but
exactly.
I don't know what it'll sound
exactly.
like.
So at the end of the day, Jake, the record's done, and you're playing live gigs, and you're back to playing and stuff. I mean, the record feels good to you. I mean, did it kind of, hit all those kind of places you were hoping to hit musically, and expressing yourself as a guitarist? I mean, you feel good about it now that it's done and kind of out there in the world?
Yeah, I'm satisfied with it. I mean, you're never, well, I don't know if it's like that with everybody, but I'm never finished. I'm always thinking I can do something better. This could use work. Who was it? I heard a quote once where it's, you never finish a record, you abandon it. And I've always took that to heart. Because, yeah, you're always second-guessing yourself, always thinking you can do something better. At some point, you just have to, nope, that'll work. Fine. I quit.
Yeah.
I quit.
And
And with this record, I did reach that point. I don't know if that's exactly what you meant. But
No, it is. I mean, if you really look at the playing, we talked about these solos and how the feeder solo and some of that stuff, really kind of, even kind of blew your mind. I mean, do you think this is some of the best kind of playing you've ever kind of put on record? I mean, would you say that? Could you say that?
Maybe as far as varied, yeah. There is no. One thing that's this record is missing that, and I don't know how we would have fit it in. I'm sure we would have at some point, but we worked on it for like a year and a half because it was a very casual, lazy schedule.
Oh, I see.
It's not like we worked really hard for a year and a half. It was, yeah, I'll come in tonight. Nah, I'm not going to come in tonight. So it took a year and a half. After that, you're just finally like, shit, I'm tired of coming to the studio. It would have been nice to try to incorporate some kind of a blues-based song.
I gotcha.
And maybe the next record be Blues Dragon Cartel. And we'll do something along those lines. But that's the only thing that I kind of felt was missing. Well, maybe not even missing, that we didn't really touch upon.
I understand.
It was a more blues-based kind of a thing.
And I mean, some of that blues stuff, well, a lot of that blues stuff comes out on the Retrace record. I mean, I kind of, Guess I'll Go Away, which is just one of the freaking greatest songs, man. You do such a great job on that song.
I love that song.
Unbelievable song, and I can't stand it. Trower and Evil. I mean, Cactus are just one of my favorite bands. Obviously, you playing with Tim, playing Evil must have been pretty cool.
It was, and I was actually really happy that I could make him happy because he did this record, my record, but just before that, I guess Ainsley and Tim were contracted to do 2 other Shrapnel records. I think one was with maybe with Schenker. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But there's 2 other ones that they were doing, and they all wanted Tim to play good, clean, normal bass tracks to those. And then when I came into the studio and we did the first song, I walked over to where he was. I'm like, "You don't sound like Tim Bogert." Bogert. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "You sound all polite." I said, "Do you not like playing with distortion and stuff?" And he says, "Oh, I love it, but I was told to calm it down and just play the songs." And I was like, fuck that. Fuck that. Make that sound like however you want to sound like. Play however you want to play. This is what I signed up for. You're half the reason I'm doing this record. Give me Tim Bogert the way Tim Bogert wants to play. And he got his big smile on his face.
That's cool.
And it was just so special that I could put a smile on Tim Bogert's face.
That is so cool. Jake, just a couple more questions and I'm going to let you go, I promise. There's so much I wanted to ask you about. On that Retrace record, Jake, I mean, obviously these are songs you love. I mean, these were kind of the guys you were listening to back in the day, Trower and Kossoff and Johnny Winter. I mean, those guys were kind of on your radar, kind of when you were coming up as a young Jakey Lee, as it were.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, you don't sound like any of those guys.
Huh. Well,
sometimes
I don't try to.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, sometimes you can really trace a guy's, influences, and you kind of really can hear it. But it's not there at all.
If anything, I try not to sound like people.
Gotcha.
And like obviously with Ozzy, I didn't want to sound like Randy. Not that I didn't love his playing.
Of course.
It's just that Randy's Randy. He made his stamp, and I just always, it was. Well, when I was in cover bands, I would. Way back in the day, I would try to sound exactly like that guy.
I see.
And that was part of the challenge back then, early, was getting their sounds, playing it just the way they played it, and it did help me musically as far as where did they play this chord, what was the voicing of this chord.
Interesting.
And all of that was really important to me, just to study it and okay, here's the notes in the solo, but what strings did he really play it on? I would listen for that kind of shit so I could get into their heads and say, okay, I'm pretty sure this is exactly the way he played it. Where you can be, it's easy to cheat. It's easy to cheat and say, oh, it's an A chord, and just hit an open A, when in fact he played it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it could still sound like it. I mean, one of the big ones would be and this goes back to the Ozzy days, would be like, say, Paranoid, where when I learned that as a kid, I knew it played it up on the 12th fret. You know, the two bang, 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 that's the 12th fret. I could hear that.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is important, just to get into their headspace, because they were all awesome guitar players, and I wanted to learn from them, to find out where they played it, and exactly how they played it. When I was in Ozzy, I played Paranoid. I didn't play it on the 12th fret, even though I know if you're going to play it, that's where it's supposed to be, because I didn't want to sound like Iommi. So I played it on the, the 9th fret? You know, I played it in the, in that E chord position, not on the 12th fret, but on the 7th, I think.
Like the 7th
that
and
E
9th.
chord.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's not how he played it.
Oh, interesting.
But I knew how he played it, and actually, I think that's something that's missing in from what I can see, new guitar players, and a lot of it has to do with the internet, where I want to learn the song, go on the internet, YouTube it, and there's 3 or 4 guys showing you how to play it, and they all play it the same. And from the ones I've seen, at least with me, they're not playing it right.
Is that right?
They didn't take the time like I did when I was young to, God damn it, exactly how did he play this? Not just, will this work? Or, yeah, that sounds kind of like it. But for me, it was exactly, I want to know exactly how he fucking played it, so I know exactly where he's coming from. And that's a little bit of what's missing, I think, from what I've heard of modern guitar players. It's beginning to sound like they all got their lessons from the same source.
That's an interesting way to put
which
it,
is
Jim.
YouTube. Like, how do you play this song? Oh, he'll show me. Now, there's 10,000 guitar players playing it like that. Whereas when I was growing up, and not just because I was so into it, but when I was growing up, you know, there was no internet. There was rock wasn't really even on TV. You didn't get to see anybody, and so you'd get together with like 4 other guitar players. Say, how do you play this song? We'd all play it different, and because nobody knew exactly the right. Well, I always thought I did, but I'm sure they did too. Nobody knew the exact way, and you'd see each guy and go, "Oh, you play it like that," and eventually go, "Ah, shit, I think he's right." But everybody would play it in a different position in a different way because that's how they heard it.
Yeah.
And that made everybody more individual in the long run because that's how you had to put it on a record player. And then you try to learn something, you have to pick the needle up and then move it back. And so it was a very primitive way of trying to learn things. And because of that, everybody learned it differently. Everybody sounded different. Now everybody's going to the same source, which makes for a bunch of guitar players that sound the same, to me.
That's a really interesting way to put it, Jake. I never thought about that, but you're so absolutely right. Absolutely.
Yeah. In the old days, the guitar players I grew up with, you would never confuse 4 notes that Carlos Santana played
Exactly.
with 4 notes that Jimi Hendrix played, or 4 notes that Eric Clapton played, or Beck, or you knew, because they all came from different places, different subcultures, and now with the internet, there's one culture, and I'm not saying that as a diss. I'm saying that really as a plea to guitar players to individuality, to make yourself sound like you know, and I think I do, and that's what when I hear stuff on the radio and people play me stuff, that's what I'm missing. That guitar player could be that guitar player, could be that guitar player, and I think the next huge guitar player is going to be some kid from some slum in Rio de Janeiro who could only afford one record and listen to it on his record player and had to learn stuff on his own and didn't have the internet and is just so fucking unique and fresh sounding because he didn't get the source
Interesting.
Had to come up with it on his own. He's going to be the guy.
So if he only has one record, what record will he have?
Band of Gypsies. I still think that is the epitome of live rock guitar playing ever.
It is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. So, Jake, what are the plans now?
Well, we're touring up. I think we're hitting the East Coast in March. Then we're doing a bunch of festivals in Europe.
Wow.
And it's just to go out and have a good time playing.
And it feels good. I mean, you feel good being back up there, and
yeah. It feels better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Or better than I even imagined. I mean, I don't particularly think I deserve it, but
that's such a strange thing for you to say. Wow.
For people to hang on for so long and hope that I would play again. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I'm deserving of it, but I am very appreciative of it. And the last couple of shows we did where I look out and I make eye contact with somebody and they just get all excited and, I love you, Jake. It's just, it's really, it's very heartwarming. And like I said, I don't think I particularly deserve it, but the fact that they're out there, man, it's really cool.
That's wonderful, Jake. Thank you so much, man. And you do deserve it. And it's just a wonderful record, man. You're such a unique player, man. It just there's a reason that people kind of hang on, because the playing touches them in so many ways. If it was kind of hack stuff or whatever, I mean, I don't think those people would hang around. But anyway, man, I wish you all the best. I can't thank you enough for indulging me here. I know we went over, but screw the next guy. So
I might screw. Well, we already screwed the 6 o'clock guy.
Yeah, well,
we screwed his pooch, and I'm kind of thinking I'm going to put the ringer off until 7, and I'm going to fuck somebody else up. But
well,
I could use a 10-minute break.
You've earned it. Thanks again, man, and you take care of yourself, Jake, and play all the good notes, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jake.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night.